we are in the sweet spot that every East Asian economy was when it gets a population dividend. The fact that we're not growing faster now is really worrisome. When do countries stay young even when they grow rich? A country like the United States, because a lot of immigration has taken place. In our country, we can have internal immigration, which takes care of the problem. For us to become that goal of Viksit Desh by 2047, and if it's business as usual, it's not going to happen.
We've heard some remarkable things being said. It almost appears as if 50 years of controlling population, all the lessons are forgotten. Now you can see a lot of people even arguing that we need more population to have economic growth. For a country that is already the most populous country on the planet, to say that we need to have more children to have economic growth seems bizarre at one level. The other problem is that many different states, some southern states have made this noise that, we must have more babies, for political reasons, maybe for,
Right.
How do you sort of see this?
The reality is in some states, right, the fertility rate has fallen below the replacement rate. And so, populations are sort of growing first relatively smaller and eventually will shrink in those states relative to the rest of the country. I mean, the reality is that, one, we are a country with very mixed sort of economic experience. The North, for example, Bihar, Uttar Pradesh, aren't doing as well as the West and the South in terms of per capita incomes. The South has already become rich enough, as the West has, for people to have smaller families, fewer kids, etc. Hasn't still hit some parts of the North as much. So, differential population growth. Of course, if you are worried about your state's position, you say, I should focus on that. Now, what would be nice is if instead we encourage more immigration. Because truly, when do countries stay young even when they grow rich? A country like the United States, because a lot of immigration has taken place. In our country, we can have internal immigration, which takes care of the problem. And in fact, you see that. In Tamil Nadu, a lot of workers come from Bihar, come from Uttar Pradesh, and sometimes the word is they're the only guys who work, which I think is overstating I think there are lots of very good Tamil workers. In fact, we see a lot of firms coming from outside, looking for Tamil workers who are well educated, very, very capable. But the point is that we need to address this issue. And if the jobs are in the South and the West, allow for more immigration to happen. And recognize the fact that the immigrant is more a part of the South than a part of where they came from. Make it easier for them to bring their families also.
Maybe voting or,
Yeah, I mean, look, in Europe, they're confronting this issue. Then there's the issue of our culture being affected. We'll have to manage that internally. But at least we're one country. And we'll have to find ways of doing it. Remember, we are in the sweet spot that every East Asian economy was when it gets a population dividend. A lot of young people coming into the labor force and reducing the dependency rate. That is, the old and the very young who cannot work. So our working age population as a fraction of the population is growing. This is when our growth should, even relative to the recent past, go up by a percentage point or two if we create the jobs for the people coming into the workforce. The fact that we're not growing faster now is really worrisome, right? In other words, I keep saying 6% won't cut it, but it should be more than 6% just from the population dividend. And it should be even more for us to become that goal of Viksit Desh by 2047. And if it's business as usual, it's not going to happen.